Hey y'all, my name is Babbles, and it is now 2025. So I thought to ring in the new year, I'd look back at one of my builds from 2024. So without further ado, please enjoy this compilation of my building videos for Dracula's Castle. Hey y'all, my name is Babbles, and welcome to a very special episode of Building Tales. In this series, I've been using stories to help teach myself how to build better in Minecraft. And today I'm going to be doing my first benchmark. Normally, in these videos, I introduce a story, find something in that story that I want to build, and then build it for you in kind of a montage type of way with a few explanations in between. But for this video and for the next few videos, I'm going to slow it way down. This is supposed to be a benchmark, so this is going to be kind of a check in to see how I'm progressing. So let's get started. Okay, so step one is finding a place to build. Right now, I'm on top of Baba Yaga's house, which I built in the last couple episodes, and I want to find something that's relatively close by because I want to be able to get to all of these builds somewhat easily. So over that way is Cinderella's palace and her tree and the house and the other Cinderella builds, and then a little further on are the Odyssey builds. So I think since those are all that way, I'm gonna head this way. Okay, so I found this bit of land here. It's relatively flat and pretty clear of trees, which will make it a lot easier. I am willing to clear trees, but after having to clear almost an entire jungle for Cinderella's palace, I really wanted something that I didn't have to do that for. So here we've got some flat land, and I think this is where most of the build will be. I think I can probably do something pretty cool down there, and I think I can do some neat stuff with the terrain over here. So what am I going to be building here, you may ask? I'm going to be building Dracula's castle. I wanted to do something relatively complex for this first benchmark. It is episode 10 after all, so might as well do something special. So I think the majority of it is going to be on this little lump right here. So, my plan for this episode and for the next few episodes is that they will be more of a build along type of thing. I will be showing most of the process rather than just building some stuff, cutting it up, adding music, making it a montage. So, first step, I'm going to get some wool. I'm going to get some yellow wool. And I'm going to, I think, mark out a couple of towers. Or actually, I think I will mark out the main kind of entryway of the palace first. So basically, what I normally do, and full disclosure, this is not meant to be any sort of teaching video. This is simply myself learning how to build and work with these shapes and these materials. So I often will fly up, see in comparison to everything else what the scale is, and then fix it if I need to. Like, for example, I think that was just a bit small for what I would like. Okay, I think I'm going to stick with that for now, and I will just go over a little ways. Let me see. So yeah, maybe just a little more. And then I think I will call it there. And there we go. That is the first part of the palace all marked out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, now that I have this shape all marked out, is I'm going to go through and I'm going to mark the center point on each of these lines, just so I have an easier reference point. So let's see. Okay, so this is 17 blocks long. So the midpoint would be right about here. Now on these, this is 21 blocks long. So the middle would be right there. Okay, so now I'm just gonna mark those out on the other sides. So this is just so I can get an easier frame of reference. I am very glad that it is a 1 block center. That will make everything easier. So yeah, now to just mark out the walls. So for the walls, I do want them to go up somewhat high, but I also want this part of the building to be kind of the lowest. I want to have it kind of surrounded by towers. So I am going to go up a little bit. Let me see. I think I'll go up a little bit higher. That's 11 blocks right now. We'll try 15. I think that's a little too high. It's going to look a little bit stretched. So I think 13. Yeah, we'll go with 13. And I haven't altered the terrain at any point yet, and I don't think I will. I kind of want the castle to feel like it's just kind of sunk into the ground around it. Or like maybe over the years the ground has made its way up against the walls. So I know this is a little uneven, but that is on purpose. So I'm just going to build these up the same height. There we go. So the lower points are not on the same Y level, but I do want the upper points to be. And on these it will be a little more complicated, but yeah, there we go. And then the last one. Okay, there we go. We have a little bit of an outline for the entry hall. Okay, so now that I have the outline of the entry hall, I want to put a roof on it, and I want it to kind of be a little bit round, and I can go in and add more detail to this when I put the actual materials in, because then I'll have access to things like slabs and stairs. But just to get a rough outline, let me see. Yes, I think I want something like that. I don't want it to be too pointy, although I might go one more, see how I like that. Yes, I think I'm satisfied with that. Now on this side, I'm just gonna go straight across. And the same over here. Oh, It looks like I was just a little bit off with my counting, so let me just fix that real quick. Okay, and then I can repeat that over here. Now, roofs are actually one of the things that I'm the least confident in when it comes to building. I feel like I have a picture in my mind of what I want it to be, but it never quite works out the way I intended. So I really want to try to get some interesting roof shapes, just so I can practice. All right, and I think what I want to do is have it drop down in the middle. So it gets kind of a sloping effect. Yeah, and I can smooth that out later when I get slabs and stairs. Okay, so now that I have the entry hall pretty much all marked out, I want to add some towers. So I'm going to go in with a different color. I'm going to go in with some cyan wool. And I think I'm just going to kind of sporadically place them around. I want the castle to look kind of weird because, you know, Dracula in the book, he's kind of a weird guy, and I want the castle to reflect that. So right now, I'm not going to worry about height. I'm just going to worry about placement. So I think I want to have a couple of towers kind of framing the entryway. And I am going to go in with circles. I won't do circles for all of them, but circles are kind of a difficult shape to work with. So I figure if this is a benchmark and I'm trying to challenge myself, it'll be good to get some practice in. Like I said, circles are challenging, so I got this off somewhere. Where was it? 1, 2, 3. Oh! So that one was a little bit short. Where else did I go wrong? Okay, so I've got 5 here. 2, 1, 2, 5, 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 1, 2. Okay. There. So there we go. That is the outline for the first tower. So I've now got the footprint of the second tower laid out next to the entry hall. So I'm going to, I think, add on a couple of square ones just off of the sides. So I'm going to go from just a little before the halfway point. We'll see about 7. Actually, I think I want these to go all the way back to the end of the entry hall. So we'll just bring it out that way. And let me see how that looks. Yes, okay, I don't want these to be too big. I just want them to kind of frame it. So I'll go ahead and repeat that on this side. So there we go. We now have 4 towers all laid out. So as I'm looking at this and as I'm looking at the tower placement, I think what I want is I want a larger part of the building behind the entry hall that's still kind of shaped like it. So basically the same thing, just on a much larger scale. And I haven't decided what I want to do with it on this side. So right now I'll probably just extend the footprint out over it and worry about that later. So I want it to go, I think, just a little past here. So right about there. And I'll mark the same place on this side. So I want it to go back quite a ways because I want it to be quite large. So let's see, how does that look? Yes, I think that will probably be about the size I want. So that was about 21 blocks out. And I'll just match that up. Okay. So this will kind of be like a main section of the tower, because not everything is going to happen, or a main section of the palace, because not everything is going to happen in the entryway or these towers. So this will be like living space, maybe a kitchen. I haven't really thought about the interior yet. I'm still in the very early planning stages, but I know that I want to have this here. Okay, so I went ahead and finished marking out that part of the building because it's basically the same as this one. The only difference is obviously the size, and rather than sloping down like I did with the entryway, I want it to come to a really sharp peak. So I just did the middle slightly taller than the front. So now that I have that marked out, I think I want to do another really large tower over here. And this will be another circle. So more of a challenge. And rather than 5, like I did those, I think I'm going to go with 7. Now this is the tricky part. I can do circles that have this part as 5 pretty easily. It's just 5, 2, 1, 2, 5. But for 7s, it's a little trickier, and I'm not quite sure if I remember exactly how to do it, so I might have to mess around with it a little bit. Okay. Now that I'm looking at it, I think maybe I actually do want it to be just a little bit smaller, so I think I'll go ahead and shrink it. Okay, so I do think I like the size of this better. It is the same size footprint as the ones up here, so I think what I'll do just to make it feel larger is I will make it much taller. I think I want this to be the tallest part of the build. So now that we have them all marked out, I'm gonna go ahead and experiment with some heights. So I'll start with this one. Now I do want these to be slightly taller than the entry, but I don't really want them to be as tall as that. So I'm just gonna see what feels right. And I've got to remember these are gonna have a little bit of a roof on them, so keep that in mind as I'm stacking up. All right, I think that'll probably be a good height. So I'm just gonna check the Y level of that, and then I will repeat it over there. So I've got the 2 towers up here laid out, and I think I'm quite satisfied with the size of them. So I'm now going to move on to these. And for these, I want them to be flat on top, and I want them to not come up any higher than the top of this roof line. So keeping that in mind, go a little higher. All right, I don't think I'm going to go any higher than this. So I'm just going to repeat that on all of these corners and then flatten it out. So with these towers, I want them to kind of connect to the roof line of this part because this is going to be open. These are going to be kind of like little side rooms that you can go into. So now that I've done that, I'm going to work on the height for this tower. Now, for all of these, I've been looking at the Y level of each of these stacks that I've been doing rather than just counting how many I've been doing because the terrain is very uneven. And if I just went, oh, well, I went up this many blocks on this tower, so I'll go up this many blocks on this one. That won't work because like here, this is lower than this. So as I was building up, I was constantly checking the Y level to make sure that it would be even. So I will do the same on here. Or well, I guess I don't have to do exactly the same because this is a reasonably flat bit of land, but it's good to keep in mind anyway. All right. Okay. So for this tower, I did want it to be significantly higher than the rest of the palace, and this will also have a roof on it. So I really want it to be kind of imposing, and I think that just about gets the job done. Okay, so now that I have all the towers and the main part of the castle all set up, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few connecting pathways. So, like these towers right now are completely disconnected from the main part of the castle. So I might neaten these up a little bit later, but for now, I'm just going to have a little bit of a pathway there. And these will have roofs eventually. They'll be kind of like covered walkways. So they'll just go and be connected kind of like that to the main building. And then just to kind of signify what it will eventually look like, I'll just put a line kind of going like that. So you can see person going through the entryway. Once they're in there, they can just walk through like this and get to the tower. And I will do a larger one to here. And I think I'll just connect it straight across. Excuse me, pig. There you go. And then that way the entire castle can be connected. So there we have it. This is step 1 of the little benchmark mini-series where I'm working on Dracula's castle. We've got the towers, we've got the entryway, we've got the main part of the castle. So in the next one, I want to start filling in some of these buildings. But yeah, that'll be it for this one. Please leave a like if you like, subscribe if you so choose. Comment down below what stories you'd like to see me take a look at in the future, and don't forget to check out a book from your local library. See y'all! Hey y'all, my name is Babbles, and welcome back to Building Tales, where I've been building Dracula's castle. So far, I've just got the outline of the castle, and I kind of want to fill in the walls today, but I really want to just fill in the walls. I want to take this very slowly, so I can do everything with intention. So first thing I need to do is pick out a palette. So I've got the creative inventory open right now, and one thing that I know I want for this castle is I want it to be very gray. So I've gone straight to the stone variants, and I think I want some tough, maybe some tough bricks, maybe some deep slate bricks for the shadows to make it really high contrast, and then maybe just some standard stone bricks. And I think for now, that's all I want to work with. So I'm going to find a blank space over here, and I'm just going to set these up next to each other to see how I like it. Okay, that's all right, but I think I want to put them in a slightly different formation just so I can really get a look at them. Yes. So I really like this for right now. So I think I want the main part of the build to be tough, with just the deep slate and the stone for shadows and highlights. So these are the base materials that I'm going to have in the castle. These are not going to be the only blocks that I use, but just to kind of give me a blank slate, that's what I'm going to go with. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this main building here, and I'm just going to fill it in with the tough for right now. And then I'm going to go back through with the deep slate and the stone. So I'm going to just replace all this wool. And fill it in. This is a very blank wall, but that's okay because we're going to detail it. Now I'm not going to add anything like doors or windows or other decorations right now. I just want to get the colors. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about where shadows might be, and they're going to be up towards the roof because there will be a little overhang here. So I'm just going to replace just a few of these with some of the deep slate to really give it some of that depth. I'm also thinking down here it's going to be a little grimier because there will be dirt and water from rain collecting kind of in these areas. So these are also going to get replaced a little bit. Something like that. And just periodically throughout, I'm going to replace some tuff just because this building is probably a little bit weathered, so it's going to be a little bit dirty. So just going through like that, not being too precise, but also I kind of want to make them kind of blobby and not particularly organized, just kind of splotches. And I don't want single blocks all by themselves. They have to be connected. So now that I've got some of the shadows in, I want to go through with some of the highlights. So where would the highlights be? Or where would some of the building have been bleached? I'm thinking right around here, because if the sun is shining directly on it, that stone is going to get faded. So just here and there where I think the light would hit. Maybe over here. Generally, I think the lighter parts would be higher up on the building and the darker parts would be below. So now that I have this kind of worked out, and I'm leaving that blank because eventually a door is going to go there, I'm going to go through and I'm going to fill in this building and that one. That is quite a few blocks that I've placed there. All right, so I've filled in the walls of this, but I wanted to just kind of show one thing that I decided to do. So when a building ages, especially if it's made out of bricks or something like this, it's often battered by like wind and rain. So some of the bricks lose their shape. They become flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with some andesite and I'm just going to kind of sprinkle it in places. Just to kind of show that it's gotten a little weathered. And I'm going to do that as well with the polished tuff and with some cobbled deep slate. Unfortunately, the polished deep slate doesn't quite give the feel that I want it to, so I'm just going to go in with the cobbled variant. So yeah, that is another way to age your buildings. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go and fill in these, and I'm going to fill in the towers with just tuff for now. Okay, so I actually went ahead and filled in just about everything except for the roofs and these little pathways. So for the main parts of the build, obviously I did the tuff going into the deep slate and the stone and the andesite. But for these side buildings, I went in with deep slate as the base color and then went into black stone and tuff as the shadows and highlights. And what I did, and it's really obvious up close, but less obvious from a distance, is on the places where there would be shadow, I went ahead and darkened those up. And you can really see it here. Just places where the meeting of the buildings, or meeting of the sections of the buildings, would cast a shadow on each other, just a little bit darker. And for the towers, these two are mainly tuff, and I just went in with the deep slate. I didn't go in with the stone because I wanted them to be a little more uniform, as if maybe the wind was going around them, or like the shape of the building or the shape of the tower was breaking the wind, so it wouldn't cause as much weathering. I don't know if that's exactly how that works, but I think I like the look of it. And then for the large tower over here, I went in with mostly deep slate and then the black stone. So now I'm going to work on these little paths just a little more. I want them to be darker than the main building, so I think I'm going to go in with some blackstone. So what I want for these little walkways is I want them to be kind of open air. So I'm just going to replace those and then kind of move it up here. And I want to do an outline, but I want the roof to be a different color. So I'm going to build it up a little bit. So it's like you're going from here into the main building. And I think I'll outline it a little more here. And this was kind of just a rough outline to begin with, but I think I'm all right with that shape, and I'll just replace the tuft there. So yeah, this will be the first pathway, and I'll just repeat that for the others. So now that I've got all of the stonework laid, I want to look at the roof. So I've got some mangrove wood and some red nether bricks here, and that's what I'm going to use to fill that in. So for the mangrove, that's going to go on the pathways, and the red nether brick is going to go on the main building. And I've already tried out the mangrove over on this one, and I think I like it. I like that it gives a dark feel to it, which is exactly what I want for Dracula's castle. So all of these pathway roofs are gonna have that mangrove. But all of the main building roofs are gonna have these almost blood red nether bricks, which I think will look really nice. Now, like I said in the previous video, roofs are kind of the thing in Minecraft that I am worst at. So I'm just gonna kind of go for it and hope it turns out well. Okay, so I have an incredibly basic roofline here, but I think that's all right since I'm still practicing at them. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through and kind of build up the edges a little bit, just so I can kind of get a little bit of a sloping effect. I want it to look like it's kind of sagging a little bit in the middle. So this is mainly full blocks, but by adding some slabs, I can kind of get that effect that I want. So yeah, that's going to be the roof line for both this roof and that roof over there. And then I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these yet, but these I want to be tall and pointy, which is something I've never successfully done. But that's the whole point of this series, so I'm excited for it. So there we have it. It is all blocked out. So for these sections, I decided to do slanted roof and I built up the walls a little bit. And I wanted it to be a slightly different angle than these two roofs. And I think it turned out pretty well. Now, with these, I actually ran into an issue that I'm really glad I ran into. So I wanted them to be kind of slim and tall, but try as I might, I could not get it to work. But rather than seeing that as a bad thing, I'm choosing to see it as a good thing because this is meant to be a benchmark, a progress report, if you will. Something that I can look back on one day and say, oh, that's where I started and this is where I am now. So I'm kind of glad that I wasn't able to pull this off exactly as I wanted it to be. I was able to slim out the shape a little bit with some slabs, but I'm kind of okay with it. So this is everything all filled out. And that is going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you like, subscribe if you so choose. Comment down below what books you would like to see me take a look at in the future. And don't forget to check out a book from your local library. See y'all! Hey y'all! My name is Babbles, and welcome back to another episode of Building Tales, the series where I've been teaching myself how to build better in Minecraft through stories. Lately, I've been working on Dracula's castle, and I've been taking it very slowly. So right now, I just kind of have the outline of it. But today, I want to fill in some details. Oh, and if you like the video, maybe consider subscribing. It would really help me a lot. So when looking at this, I know the first thing I want to do is add a door, and I want it to be rather large and kind of grand, almost like what you would see at a church or a cathedral or something. And maybe I'll add a window up here. But I just know these parts of the buildings need a way to get in. So I'm going to start with that. Okay, so I'm going to start from the center and just kind of work my way up until I get to a height that I think I'm all right with. Maybe one more, and then just kind of expand it out. And I'm going to do kind of a loose arch shape right now that I can refine later. I think I'm good with that for now. That may change when I get some other details in, but I think that's a good base shape. Now, I kind of want a stained glass window here. So once again, going from the center, I think if I kind of start like that, make kind of a loose round shape. I think I want it to be just a bit bigger. Okay, I think I'm good with that shape. So now that I have these places marked out, I think I'm going to go around to the other sections of the building and go ahead and insert some doorways and windows here and there occasionally, and then I'll fill them in later. So for the towers over here, I think I just want a simple entrance, maybe just on the side. And I'll do the same over here. Just like that. Then here, I think I want a larger entrance right here. Maybe a 3x3. And we'll see how that goes. And for here, I'm trying to figure out what to do with these large sections of kind of blank wall. I could do more windows. In fact, what I might do is I think I'll do a large window here and maybe keep it or replicate it on the other side. See how I like that? So I'm just gonna break through. Just kind of going for a rough round shape that I can refine. I think I'm good with that. So now that I've got the window going all the way through that back building, I want to add some windows to these towers. So I'm kind of taking inspiration from kind of medieval towers where they just have kind of simple windows, but doing those on this scale is going to be a little tricky. I really would like to have that kind of arch shape, but I think with this, I'm just going to have to stick with the plain 2-block hole and then kind of just occasionally go down in a little bit of a spiral. And then maybe for this one, bring it back up. And I think that'll be just fine. Just to give it a little bit more interest. Just like that. And I'll do the same on this tower. Okay, now for these little side buildings, I'm just going to go through and kind of every few blocks just break out little windows like that. Oh. Move them over one. Yeah. Just to break it up a little bit. And now comes the time for me to fill in the door. So I know I want this to be grand. So I'm going to use dark oak. I think what I'll do is I'll have kind of a 2-door entrance there and just fill in the rest with trapdoors. If I can put them in the correct spot. Alright, come this direction now. There we go. Then just go from the top. It is relatively simple, but I think I like it. Although, I'm not sure how I feel about the kind of repeated waffle pattern. So, maybe I'll fix that. So after messing around with it a little bit, I think I'm settled on this design, although I do want to fix the alignment of those. So I've got the doors there, but I've also got these kind of strong pillars of dark oak, of stripped dark oak wood. And then I've got kind of an arch given with the stair blocks and then the trapdoors there. So for the doors on here, I'm just going to go super simple and do dark oak door, trapdoor on top. Super simple. For this last door, I think what I'm going to do is kind of a simplified version of the door I have on the main building. And just do that, and then trapdoors on top. And I think I like that. Okay, so now it's time to work on the stained glass window. And I've never actually done a stained glass window in Minecraft or in real life, but I had a little bit of an idea. So it's very dark in here, meaning the glass will stand out a little, but I kind of want it to have kind of an inner glow. So I think, just as a test, I'm going to put some glow lichen behind it and see how I like that. Okay, maybe I won't do it for every one, but it does give that glow, and it kind of reminds me of the bits in between the glass, like the welding bits that keep it all together. So I think I will like that. So now I just need to figure out a pattern. I'm pretty sure I want red, gray, and a little bit of brown in it. So I guess I will just go for it and see what happens. So I think I want to try the gray kind of up top and kind of sinking down a little bit. I want it to kind of go from like darkest to, ideally it would be a really bright like crimson color, but with glass, red is about as close as I can get. Let's see about this. For some reason, it's reminding me a bit of a bit of like a dessert, which is really not what I was going for. Maybe if I bring this down a little more. Maybe like that. Closer. I think I need to bring more of the red. Maybe kind of mix those in a little bit. Okay. I think I like that so far. So now I'm gonna add in the glow lichen. Let's see. Maybe there. Maybe some up top. And maybe a little bit throughout. Maybe there as well. All right, let's see. I think I need to be a little more particular about my placement. So, we try again. Okay, after loads of fiddling, I think I'm pretty okay with this. I like how it kind of looks like it's dripping down. So I think I'll keep this and use the same tactics on those windows. Okay, so the last thing I want to do for this video is work on some final roof details. I've already tested it out a little bit on this one, so I've just got alternating walls and chains with iron bars on top of every other wall, and I think I like it. It feels a little bit sinister, like maybe it's dangerous. So I'm going to repeat that on this one. So starting from here, just wall, every other block, all the way down. And then in between, just pop a chain. And then iron bars on top of every other wall block. There, I think I like the look of that. And then I also want to add that on here. I think I'll just do a wall with an iron bar, see how I like that. I'll try this one without the wall and see how I like it with just the iron bar. I think it needs the wall. I think doing it with the iron bar, it's too much of a difference in size. I think it needs that little gradual slimming. And I will do it once more on this one. And I think for the two wings, I will just leave them as is. But now I'll take a look from the ground or from lower down. Yeah, I think I like that. So I think this is where I'm gonna leave it for today. The build isn't completely done. I still want to work on some terraforming, but I'm really satisfied with how it's looking so far. So yeah, we've got the towers with the windows, we've got the roof details, we've got the stained glass windows. I like how the windows kind of look like a flame. That's not something that I did intentionally, but I really think it works. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you like, subscribe if you so choose, leave a comment down below what books you'd like to see me take a look at in the future, and don't forget to check out a book from your local library. See y'all! Hey y'all! My name is Babbles, and welcome back to Building Tales, the series where I'm teaching myself how to build better in Minecraft using stories. And lately, I've been working on Dracula's castle. So at this point, I've built the castle. I've got the walls, the roof, the details, everything's pretty much done. So what I want to work on now is the terrain, because right now, this is a bit of a mess. So I want to terraform all the way down here because right now this is technically an entrance and I need it not to be. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to build out the side of this hill. But that's not all. I also want to do some things over here. I was thinking here would be a great spot for a lake or some sort of water feature, just to kind of bring it all together. So that's the plan for today. So before I get started on the terraforming, I need to choose some blocks. And I think I'm going to use these in my hotbar. Obviously, some grass. Basic, but needed. Then I think I'm also going to use some coarse dirt because I want it to be a little bit dead. It is Dracula after all, and coarse dirt the grass won't spread to coarse dirt. Then I think I'm going to use some mud and some muddy mangrove roots just for some darker texture. Then maybe some packed mud and then a few stone variants just to add it in. So now that I've got my little palette, I think I'll get started. Okay, so as you can see here, I've kind of laid out a rough frame using the coarse dirt of roughly where I want the land to go. So I kind of want it to come out and then I want it to be kind of a steep cliff. So you could just fall right off. Just to make it a little more sinister, I guess, to fit with the Dracula theme. So this, like I said, this is just a rough outline. This is probably not going to be the final shape of it. It's just something to give me an idea. And I'm not super confident with terraforming, so having something like this is definitely going to be helpful. So now I just have to fill it in. I'm thinking about doing the grass and dirt and mud and stuff up here and then gradually fading into the stone. I think that'll look pretty good. So, as you can see, right now I've got kind of a basic shape of the cliff that I want. And for the top here, I wanted it to be primarily dirt with some grass on the kind of flatter level of it. But I also wanted these areas of maybe almost like corruption coming from the castle into the ground. So I used the mud here and then outlined it with the muddy mangrove roots and then put some drier patches in with the packed mud. And I think I really like how it turns out. It's almost like it's dripping down. And then here, I'm going to go in and add some details to the shape, but I've got the stone with some cobblestone in it, kind of going down to the ground. Maybe as if the area around here is fine, but here it's all dead. And I think that'll add a lot. So I will get started on that. So here is the cliff. I went in and added some stalactites to the top just to kind of make it a little more menacing. And then down here, I added some boulders as if maybe it was kind of falling apart. Then I kind of blended in the line here using the mossy cobblestone and some of the coarse dirt because it was just a little bit too stark for my liking. And then up here, I kind of brought some of the grass and mud up against the walls of the castle as if it's slowly encroaching. So yeah, there's the cliff, and next I will be starting on the lake, which will be using many of the same blocks. I don't want this to be too huge, but I think it would be nice to just have a little something here. And with that, I believe we are finished with Dracula's castle. So for the lake, I went in with a base of cobblestone and then added some veins of mossy cobble and some stone along with some rocks on the edge of it. And I just went in with some seagrass and some sea pickles, and then I went in with the dead coral because I kind of wanted to give the impression that anything, any kind of life more elaborate than just the grass and the pickles would not survive. I just wanted to give this whole build a vibe of decay. So I even went through and added some dead bushes all along the edges of the castle. And with that, it is complete. Now you may have noticed one thing, and that is there is no interior. And that's kind of on purpose. I'm not very comfortable doing interiors just yet, and I know that is the point of the series, but for this little benchmark, I really wanted to focus on just the building and the terraforming. So, yeah, that wraps up this project. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like if you like, subscribe if you so choose. Comment down below what stories you'd like to see me take a look at in the future. And don't forget to check out a book from your local library. See y'all!